This episode is brought to you by Americas Rehab Campus. Get on the road to recovery with the best rehab in beautiful Arizona. Dial 1-833-272-7342. That's 1-833-ARC-REHAB. Hey guys, Buddha here. Thank you so much for tuning in to part 2 of this episode. Without further ado, let's jump right back into it.
And I don't want to die. That's when I started to look for help for the first time. It didn't work right away, but that's when I started to look for help.
With all the stories that we have, it's a very common thing that before people seeked out help, a lot of people didn't even know that recovery was possible.
Right.
You know, your boy Ninja, man, poor guy. My heart goes out to him and his family. Like, just thinking that, the ambulance was there, revived him with Narcan, but it's still high elevated levels of opiates in his system. And then for him to be feeling like shit that quick, just take a little more and that's it. It shows you how it really is a disease. I try and really bring that part home because I've seen the grudges that family members have because they feel like, how could my mother or how could my father pick this shit over me?
Right.
But I don't think people that are not in that lifestyle or have never experienced that, I don't think they could really understand how much of a grip the devil has on you when it comes to using something like that.
Right.
That drive home to go meet your mom and your dad, and what was going through your mind at that time, dude?
Angelo. That he had to be the one to, see it. So even through the addiction, bro, when we were living at my apartment, so Ninja's the one that introduced me to like the Tech Nine and strange music and all that, right? Because I was a Bone Thugs and Harmony fan, and so when we were high, we used to like put like different songs from Tech Nine, and we used to do like little dances with Angelo, and like we were really active with him. You know what I mean? We were always home anyways. You know what I mean? So we were like always really active with him. So I got close, and I always wanted kids, but I just, again, through my addiction, I couldn't. So I used to love the little kid. I used to love him to death.
Yeah.
And so we used to play like little music, and we used to play like his live performances. So we used to we knew all the dances. We used to sing along with them, and Angelo used to love it, bro.
Great performers, man.
I love them. I love them. I have the Strange Music logo tattoo.
That's cool.
And so I got really close with them, and then sometimes, when Ninja would be nodded out or like he couldn't wake up because too much use at night, like little Angelo, he would come up to my room and be like, Looney, I'm hungry. And I used to go make him breakfast. And then it became a pattern where I would make him like pancakes, and we used to sit there and eat together. Like, I love the little kid, bro. He was such a great little kid.
Yeah.
And so when I was driving over there, I was just thinking like, he loved his dad. He loved his dad. You know what I mean? And the mom was in the picture, but she was the one that had visitation. Like, he lived with us.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking like, what's gonna happen to him? How his life would turn out. I thought, how can I be there for him? To be honest with you, I thought they would allow me to be there for him. But no, I haven't. That was it. After the last time that I saw him the day before, that was it. I've never seen him or heard about him. Haven't found him on Facebook.
Nada. Mm-mm. The Lord has a very weird way of doing things sometimes. Not knowing you back then, bro, like really, but actually being able to sit here and have a conversation.
Right.
I would hope and pray that if the family of that young man was able to see you now, that they would, they could see what a positive influence you could be. Because I'm sure he desperately is feeling just the way that you and I did as far as like needing that type of figure in his life, right? And whether he has resentments or any of those types of feelings, the fact that you made it out of something like that, I feel like it would offer him an amazing... It would be an amazing opportunity for him to see and understand what addiction does and how someone is able to make it on the other side, So I hope and pray that, that connection is built sometime in the future, because I think that would be a very beneficial one for him and for you too, dude.
I mean, I can only pray, you know what I mean? And if the opportunity ever presents itself, I'll be there. Yeah. I'll be there for him. And I got stories of like discussions that I had, with Ninja, on how he would express himself, with the love that he had for Angelo. So now, Well, later on in my story, like it all ties up, right? My youngest son, his name is King Angelo Gaxiola.
Wow, that's cool though. That's cool that that's your boy's name, and man, I couldn't imagine the way you were feeling in your heart, bro, on the way home, just having to talk to your parents and showing them all of those things and being open and transparent and honest. But it's also an amazing thing, and maybe you can touch on this too, as crying out, bro. When you get to that point in your life where you're crying out, right? You put the ego aside, you stop blaming other people and you start taking responsibility. There's a strange transformation that starts to happen at that point of vulnerability.
Yeah.
Going and telling them that you needed help. What was the next step? Did you end up going into a treatment center after that?
No. So in the streets, we had already heard of Suboxone.
Okay.
Right. So I thought it was a magic medication. I was like, that's all I need. That's all I need. Because my problem, the reason I don't get off of it is because of the withdrawals. So if I have a medication that helps me with the withdrawals, I made it. Right. So I told my mom what it was. She educated herself. But the thing is, it still wasn't as common as it is now.
Yeah.
So looking for it was a mission. Actually, for the longest time, I was going out to different agencies and like knocking on doors, and I just didn't know the process. So they would try to explain to me the process, and I was like, it was a no. They can't help me. So I would leave.
Man.
So this time, at least with my mom's help, she's the one that was like asking everybody, like, hey, what's this? How can I get it? How can I get it? So finally, somebody told us about Kodak. And it used to be downtown, like a little bit down the street. Well, right next to where you donate blood. It was right next to it right there. So we went and they said yes. And I was like, all right, so what do I got to do? They told me, like, you need to be 12 hours without, using.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, okay. I mean,
I can try.
I was like, I'll do my best. You know what I mean? They said, well, I hope you do, because if you take it before time, you're going to get really sick.
Yeah. Oh, that's rough.
I went 18 hours. So I went 18 hours. And to be honest with you, not abstinent, I was smoking meth. So I was smoking meth and I was like, okay, I can do this. I got this meth high. And I was like, okay. So when I got to the Kodak and I took the medication, I felt good for like 5 minutes, and then the sickness came, bro. And it was,
really?
Oh my God.
I didn't know that meth affected it like that too.
So I don't know. I don't know what it was, bro, honestly, because the meth, so I started smoking meth because it helped me cope with the withdrawals.
From the heroin.
Right? And it gave me like hours and hours and hours without having to use heroin.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, if I use some meth, I won't use heroin as much, and I'll start to slowly decrease the use. And that was my plan, bro. You know what I mean? That was my plan.
Yeah, delusional thinking, brother.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, no, bro, I got really sick. I remember I went into my mom's car, and I was like, I couldn't stop moving, like this crazy, like crawling out of my skin feeling. I always tell people the best way that I can express it is that it felt like liquid metal was running through my veins, right? So I remember being in the front seat, then going to the middle seat, then going to the trunk, like, because it was a Jeep, going to the trunk and then going back. And one of the nurses noticed it, and my mom was like watching me through the window, and she was like in a panic. So they told me, like, just come back here. Just come withdraw back here, because your mom can't see this. She's doing horrible.
Yeah.
So they took me into an office, and I heard them talking like, you got to call the ambulance. Like, you got to call the ambulance. This is the worst I've ever seen this. Like, this is bad. This is really bad. This is really bad. And so finally, the doctor said, let me try something. And they gave me some type of, they sent my mom to go to a pharmacy to give me some type of blood pressure medication to bring my blood pressure back down. They gave me like 4 of them, and boom, it knocked me out. So I fell asleep, and I woke up it was like around 7, bro. So they kept the center open just for me because how bad I was, but I was sleeping in the couch. And when I woke up, it was manageable. So then I stayed in Tucson at my cousin's house because I had already, once that whole passing, I gave up the apartment and everything. And so,
man,
I stayed at a cousin's house, and the next day I had to go check in with the doctor, see how I was doing. And he's like, are you much better? And I was like, yeah, a lot better, And I was like, but I'm not taking a full strip. That was horrible. I'll take half. So then that's when my first attempt of recovery was. So I stayed off of heroin for 9 months that time. I was smoking meth every so often, but I stayed off of heroin, what was making my life unmanageable for 9 months.
Man. So you stayed at a center. What made you use again after the 9 months? What was it? Was there a situation or something you couldn't cope with?
Well, I was still smoking meth. I was taking Xanax. And
Those portals were still open.
Yeah. And I was going to groups. I was going to groups at Kodak. You know what I mean? And so they were testing me, and they were like, "Hey, you're popping dirty for meth. So let's, either you stop or we're gonna stop with the medication." So one day there was a barbecue at my mom's house, and the anxiety was high, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna come back to Tucson, Mom. I'm leaving early. So I came up to Tucson, and I wanted to show my homie. It was another dealer, my homie David. Look how good I'm doing. Like, let me help you. You should come, to where I'm going so you can get help too. And we sat there and we talked for hours. Finally, he was like, "Hey, like, Looney, I'm sorry, but like, I need you to go, bro. I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm sick and I don't want to use in front of you." And I said, like, "Oh, it's all good, bro. Like, you can use in front of me, bro. I can smell it. I can look at it. As long as I'm not using, like, I'll be good."
Yeah.
So I only told him once, right? So he started smoking and I started smelling it. And I was like, "You know what, bro? It's been 9 months, bro." Like, and I said straight up, I was like, "Check this out, bro." I was like, "Just sell me a bag." And I was like, "And I'm going to make it last." I was like, "It's been 9 months, bro. Like, I know what it does to me. I'll be more careful than the first time."
Yeah.
Like, just,
Man.
And I'll save it. And whenever, I'll use it again. And he's like, "Don't do this to me, bro. Like, you're doing so good. Like, don't do this to me. Don't do this to me." I was like, "Come on." So we went back and forth. And I was like, "Look, homie, I'm going to give you some options. Either you sell it to me, you make the money, I get what I'm looking for, I'm cool. 2, I can call somebody else, bro. And they'll make the money. I'll be cool. You'll be out of a couple bucks." And because I was 9 months, I had some money in my pocket. And I was like, "Or I'll give you option number 3. I pulled out the gun. Glock, glock. I'll take everything you got."
No shit.
And he was just like, "I'll sell it to you, bro." I was like, "I thought so." And so I started smoking it. And we talked about once you use one way, it's not the same.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the high that I was looking for. It was within an hour, bro. I was like, "Let me get a syringe." And that was it. I relapsed from 2013, 14 till 2017.
Man, that's a roller coaster, bro. And so this last time that you came in, and it's been a few years now. How long has it been now that you've been clean?
So I got clean in December 28, 2017.
2017. Man, that's awesome. You're getting closer to that 10-year mark. So during that time, your family and stuff, I'm sure, did they know that you had relapsed?
Oh yeah. Oh man. My mom knows. You know what I mean? Like, she was like, "Okay." And you can't show up to a small town with a Tucson attitude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You do things bigger in the city. You do. The attitude's more intense. You know what I mean? Like, the lifestyle's more intense. And Nogales, I guess you can say, a little bit more passive, a little bit more humble. And being that I was 17 years up here in Tucson, like, because in 2016 I was coming still back and forth, But so when I got back there with this, now I'm a real gangster. I got into like bill collecting. You know what I mean? So I was like pushing people, what do you call it? Extortion.
Yeah.
And I never wanted to be part of the cartel, bro. I never did. And one time they tell me to move something. I'm like, okay, well, you know what I mean? And I got a tail. I got away from them. I delivered. And when I was leaving, DEA and Homeland Security.
Damn. The one time.
Yup. And they searched my car. Like, "We know you had it. We know you had it." It's like, "Well, it's not on me. You can't pin it on me no more. So no, hit me with what you're going to hit me. It's personal use and paraphernalia, but that's it." And they said, like, you're right. But we're going to hit you with everything we got once we get to court. So I ended up on intensive probation. So house arrest.
Yeah. And
as an addict, that's not going to stop me. I need you know what I mean? And the dealers weren't going to come to my house and watch probation show up, So I would have to leave. And
this was in Tucson or Nogi?
In Nogales, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So part of me being in house arrest, I had to be at my parents' house because the law enforcement there knows my dad because, so, "Oh yeah, you're going to be good with him."
Yeah.
So I provided, I think it was like 13 positive drug tests for heroin, meth, Xanax, ecstasy, alcohol at times. And yeah, so they let me go through Christmas. And then December 28th, it was a Thursday. I had to go do my schedule. I remember it was like 4:00 and I was like, I used to have difficulty finding a vein. And I'll show you my scars, bro. Like, my scars on my arms were bad. Kind of missed the whole section where they gave me crocodile instead of China white.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. So,
when this was during the time when you were on the intensive probation?
Uh-huh. So
okay.
So I had surgery in my arm. They're about to cut it off. And
it wasn't because of an abscess. It was because of the crocodile shit.
Yep.
Oh my God.
So that's because all the tattoos on my arms, bro. That's all I did. Those all in recovery. I had no tattoos on my arms, and I do it just to cover the scars.
Dude, how, was that like, did you know that there was something up with that shit when you...
Well, when I hit the vein and I didn't feel what I was expecting from, because I've used China White in the past, and I was like, this ain't China White. Like, maybe the vein's messed up. Let me try this other arm. And let me try over here again. Let me try over here. So I used the whole 0.5 gram of crocodile in one sitting. And well, yeah, I started to eat up. And then because I don't want to go to the hospital with the knife, I was like cleaning myself. So when it was up here, that's when I was like, I got to go to the hospital. And they're like, no, you're going up to Tucson. So they brought me up to St. Mary's. They were like, no, you're getting surgery. So they make you fast. So during that fasting time, I was withdrawing. And I was like, well, I'm from Tucson. I got plugs up here. So I called one of the homies and he's like, cool, come to the parking lot. I'm not going to your room. Like, come to the parking lot and I'll give it to you. So without people noticing, I grabbed my IV, got into the elevator, went downstairs, went to the parking lot, picked up, smoked a cigarette, came back up. When I was coming up, there was a bunch of nurses in my room and they were like, where were you? And I was like, I went to the parking lot. For what? To smoke a cigarette? You're not even supposed to leave your room. And they said, they give you this towel to like wipe your body before surgery. Mm-hmm. They're like, go in here, change into this and wipe your body with this. I was like, in the bathroom? They're like, yeah, by yourself? Or by myself? And they're like, yeah, perfect. Because that's what I need. I need privacy. So I went into the bathroom knowing that I was about to be put under. I injected.
Oh, my God.
And then I went in and something must have happened in the operating table. I was never told. But when I came out, that my mom was crying and she said, like, they just came in here and they ransacked your room and they're looking for drugs and they know that you have drugs. So me, to protect my addiction, I was like, nah. Well, then let's go. I'm checking myself out. And mind you, bro, I had these huge holes where I can see my muscle because they had taken tissue and
was it that like just curious, the crocodile shit, because I only saw like pictures of it, and I remember hearing that it came from like other countries and shit.
Yeah, Russia.
I didn't know that it had hit the United States. I'm sure that it did, but was it like one of those instantaneous things? Like the first couple times you use, parts of your flesh are already starting to fucking come apart, or like?
Well, it was a 0.5 gram, and I hit like I don't know, like 6 times on this arm and a couple of times on this arm, but it was just 0.5 gram where it started to eat it up.
And you could literally see the discoloration and
first it turned like purple, and then I started to see the black, and that's when I started like cutting it. I knew what it was right away. So I started cutting it. It got to Nogales, bro. It got to Tucson, bro.
Wow.
Yeah, you can see.
Oh my God, that's scary, dude.
So right here, it's still a little on the darker side, but this is where the surgery was at. I got more like up here.
I remember a picture in particular, dude, of some girl. Literally right in here, you could see through her fucking arm.
Yeah.
And I mean, that right there should tell anybody listening that doesn't understand this shit how strong the addiction is. Like, I mean, it's like leprosy. It looks like leprosy. Yeah. It's scary, man. Damn. So
back to the whole probation.
Yeah.
So I used to struggle to find the vein. Right, so all the veins in my arm are blown out. Like right now, if they have to draw blood, it's a mission. It is a mission. I get super mad because it hurts.
Get your foot or some random shit.
See, well, I never injected on my leg, so that would be a good spot. But I killed the veins in my arms. I killed the veins in my neck, all the veins in my neck, and the veins in my armpit. So I used to struggle to find the vein, right? And I was trying to hit before I had to go do my schedule. I remember like kept looking at the clock, like, oh my God. And then I hit. And once it went into the system, I looked at the clock and I was like, it's 4:40. I still got time. So I rushed to probation. And then they're like, yeah, come in here real quick. And we're just going to give you a drug test. Are you dirty? Yeah, I'm dirty. Okay, that's okay. Because I provided 13 positive drug tests. I was like, 14, they're not going to arrest me. They're trying to help me. Mind you, I had a slip in my pocket to go to rehab on Friday.
Okay.
Right. And they kept sending me to detox and I would leave again because I didn't understand the process. I didn't know you had to go through a detox in order to get into residential. So I thought it was just straight residential. I was like, don't send me to these chairs at CBI. Like, don't send me there. Like, send me to a rehab. And I didn't know the process. So I kept checking out. So I had a slip to get to a residential. And he's like, here, pee here. It's like, let's go back again. And they go like, step in here real quick. And I looked and there was no tables, there was just an empty room. And I was like, nah, something's up in that room. They're like, just step in there real quick. And I was like, snap. So put your hands against the wall. And I said, why? I have a rehab slip in my pocket. You know about this. Like my case manager, like like helped coordinate it. Like why are you arresting me? And he said, because you're a danger to yourself. We don't think you're going to make it to rehab tomorrow. And he was right, because at the house I had an ounce of heroin. I had a lot of crystal meth. I had a bottle of Xanax. I had mushrooms. And I was going to party that night before I went to rehab.
Damn, bro. Man, that's crazy. And it's so... It's nuts because, I mean, your demeanor, bro, you're so respectful. You're so calm and chill. Like, I never in a million years thought that you were partying like that, bro. It's crazy. But, I mean, at the same time, we can't judge a book by its cover, right? But, man... that was the one situation with the probation, with the peeing and stuff. The hospital situation, was that before that?
Yeah, before.
Okay, and then what was the conclusion with that? They never found anything at the hospital?
No. Oh, so I checked out.
Okay.
So I checked out within 2 hours of getting surgery, and I had these tubes, so it was these huge holes, bro. Like, they were huge. You can see inside of my body, and they had this draining tube from this one to this one, and then from this one to this one. This one was the biggest one. This one was like a huge cut. And they're like, you can't leave. You just had surgery. We haven't even taught you how to clean it. Like, we're supposed to clean it for you. You're supposed to be here for like weeks. Like,
did you still get the surgery even though?
Yeah, no. But those cuts were made by them to clean out all the bad stuff. Well,
but they knew that there was something up, which is why when you woke up, they were ransacking your shit.
So the only thing I can think of, bro, because I used right before being put under, I probably flatlined on the table. You know what I mean? Because they didn't know that I was under the influence, so they must have gave me enough, like, the anesthesia?
Yeah.
Not knowing that I had substances in my body, because I never got drug tested. And I'm guessing something happened on the table. That's why they were like, well, let's look for them, right? Because he must have just used, just because of the time, like I should have been clean or whatever.
Yeah, and then the stuff on your arms, they know what it's from too.
Right. So I checked out, and I told my mom, like, you know what? Don't worry about it. I'll go to TMC. And they'll take care of me right there. Like, don't worry, I'll stay at the hospital. I'll stay at TMC. And I even told my mom, like, you know what, just leave. Just go home to Nogales, just rest. Like, I'm okay. Look, everything's going to be all right. And she did. She dropped me off at TMC and she left. Before I walked in, I called the plug again. They gave me more. And as I was walking, I remember on the hall, there was these little like cubbies. And I turned around and I looked at one of the cubbies and I saw syringes. And boom, so I grabbed one. And I went up to my room. And then they hooked me up with the IV. They did everything that they had to or whatever. And then they left the room. When they left the room, I pulled out. And I started preparing. And I overdosed at the hospital.
Oh, man.
And they Narcaned me at the hospital.
So, all right. This was after the surgery too?
Later on that night.
Later on that night. Okay. So you went back to the hospital after that. And this is still before you dropped dirty and all those things that happened. You woke up in the hospital again. Were you in a psych unit or anything?
No, I woke up in my bed. I still had the syringe in my arm, and all the nurses were like reacting because they had Narcan me, and like one nurse was working on like pulling it from my arm, and so that's when I was like, I'm sorry. Like, here, and here's what I have. I'm sorry. I won't do it again. I'll do what is asked for. And they were just like, all right, but we're going to be watching you.
Wow.
And they were watching me. So I checked out the next day.
What was the situation? What ended up happening when you finally, the light bulb turned on? Like, I got to do something, man. Like, when did that switch happen for you?
It was within minutes of getting arrested. So I was walking, so it's the probation department and it's the front office, right? And they walk you out to the back door because the jail's right behind there, right? So I was being walked and I remember like turning around and looking at my mom. And the day before I told my mom, like, Mom, I'm going to get arrested tomorrow. Or I'm going to get arrested if I don't go to rehab. And I said, if I get arrested, don't bail me out. Because my mom, she was supportive, bro. She would bail me out,
Yeah.
And I was like, don't bail me out. Just let me go through it. I can't detox anywhere else unless I'm tied up like that. I was like, don't talk like that. I'm going to get you out. Like, no, don't do it. Don't waste your money. Don't do it. And so when I was being walked towards county jail, I turned around and I looked at the front office and my mom was having a heart attack. So it was right there where I was like, I couldn't tell. I'm like, hey, hold up real quick. Let go of these cuffs. Let me go show my mom some support. And then you can take me to jail. Like, that was it. I only had two rights. You know what I mean? The right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. And
man, so this was, guessing it's the stress of everything that your mother's under and stuff, and not knowing her health or anything, but she started having a heart attack there as you were getting arrested.
And nobody was like holding her hand. She was on the floor by herself. There was probation officers around her, but she was just by herself. So from there, they took me to the hospital to get medically cleared. And I remember getting there and my dad's car was right there. So I knew my mom was at the hospital somewhere in that area.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get to her to say I'm sorry or anything. And again, I've always been real grateful that my mom never gave up on me. You know what I mean? I seen a bunch of homies who their families like gave up on them. And that wasn't my case. So it was in jail where I was like, never again, man, will I be put in a position where I cannot be there for my mom or anyone in my family at that. And I was like, it was fun. I loved getting high till date, but I hate the consequences more than I hate or that I love the high. So right then and there, I was like, all right, then go through the withdrawals, homie. There was a couple of homies in there who had some and they owed me money and I could have took it from them. But I was like, no, I'm done. And I used to get seizures with my withdrawals. So in Santa Cruz County, I don't know if it's still like that, but if you had seizures, they would release you because they didn't have the medical team to. And I had seizures and I was like, don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. It's like, you're going to get released. Don't say nothing. Just if I have a seizure, just watch me, block the camera. Because if I get released, I'm going to go out and use again. And that's not my goal. And I even told the dude, if you watch my back, I'll give you sopas. Like, because my mom would, give me money or whatever. And I was like, I'll give you some sopas. I'll take care of you, bro. Just watch my back. When I'm having the seizure, I'll be all right. And I had like 2 seizures in there. Not as bad as I thought it was going to be. It was 14 days, no food, no water. I was laying in bed. And then, the 15th day, I remember in the morning, I smelled cookies. No, I'm sorry. The night before I smelled cookies. So one of the homies there was like, they smell good, yeah. And he went and he took everybody's cookies and brought them to me. And he's like, here you go, bro. Just start eating. Like little by little, like taking bites to see if I wanted to because my stomach was messed up, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, am I going to shit myself? Like, okay, no. Damn, I ate a cookie and I'm good. Okay, so the next morning, they gave us Fruit Loops and I can smell the Fruit Loops. And that was it. I started eating. I still felt like crap, but I started eating. And then it was like a month in, I can do like 1 or 2 push-ups. So within, the second month, I was already good. I was doing exercise, playing spades and everything. And out of nowhere, I started to shake. Like these tremors, bro. And I couldn't explain them. I couldn't hold a cup. And I was like, what the hell's going on? So the last time I had court, the judge offered me rehab. And I felt good. So I was like, nah, send me to prison. That way I'll just go up and mark my number, come out without probation. That's just the smartest thing to do. And he let me think about it. And it was my sister and my nieces who were like, go to rehab, just go to rehab and, like learn something. If you go up to prison, you're not going to learn anything.
Yeah.
So again, I love my nieces to death and I didn't have any kids. So Angelo and my 3 nieces and my nephew were like my life. And so I was like, you know what, let me try it. All right, send me to rehab. Well, I'll try it. And I said, I'm going to do my best. And if I mess up, at least I tried. I can always go to prison. I asked for it anyway. So at least I tried. And I said, but don't send me to CBI. That's what I said. Do not send me to CBI. And the mom was like, okay, we'll do whatever, we can or whatever. And so finally, my case manager goes and picks me up. They said, no stops, go straight to treatment. He's signing me out. I was like, where am I going to go? CBI. Come on. That's the only place I told you not to send me to. You know what I mean? The one in Benson. I get there, bro. I remember sitting there. I was scared as hell because I knew like I can't act the way I was. So I can't go out punching people. You know what I mean? Like not the way you do in the street. So if you're going to argue or defend yourself, it has to be verbal. And how much of that can you do without threatening or, you know what I mean? And so I was scared.
Yeah.
And I knew like I was done with the drugs, but how am I going to change, the lifestyle? And I remember sitting down in the table and there was this like 19-year-old kid and he was like sitting there like trying to mad dog me. I'm looking at him like, come on, Pee-wee. Like, what you know about this? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, where you from? And he's like, I'm from Safford. Get out of here with that Safford stuff. This is tuck down or duck down. You know what I mean? And I remember even telling him like, hey, what's up with your yogurt? And he's like, oh, well, I was like, no, I'm not asking you, bro. What's up with your yogurt? So he slides it over and I'm like, and you know what I mean? Like punking people, like
my yogurt, motherfucker.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like so, but the peer support, his name was Patrick. He saw that, and he didn't say nothing. So after like nobody was around, he sits next to me and he's like, I see you're building a crew in here, and you're running some politics, and you should not be doing that. This is rehab. That's not what you're here for. He goes, what can I do to calm you down? And I was like, dude, I was in county jail for a minute. Like, I want to go outside. I want to be in the sun. And he's like, you know what? let me make that, and you give me your word, you'll calm down. I was like, yeah, I'll listen. I said, all right, I'll give you something. Just give me back in return. So we went outside and he goes, it comes with the price though. Sit down and we're going to talk recovery. He told me what is his experience of becoming a peer support and how he worked at CBI from maintenance to where he was at then. And then he said, if you were to lead people in a positive way, the way that you're leading them now, you do amazing things. And he goes, do me a favor. And you just heard with me and Martin, like I'm a huge Dodgers fan. I have Dodgers on this side, Raiders on this side. So me and Martin are always fighting. And he goes, go inside when we go back in. He goes, go into the little library that we have. You're going to find the book that's Dodger blue. Grab it. There's a chapter in there or a whole section that's called Regardless of. The third, fourth story there. Read it and come back to me and we'll discuss it tomorrow. So I grabbed the book and at night I opened it up because I really was open-minded and willing, bro. I wanted to try something new. I knew everything that I did was wrong.
Did the homie know that you were a Dodgers fan or did he just say Dodgers blue?
I used to tag it up everywhere, bro. Dodgers and LA and so I read the book. I read the story, and the story was called From Gang Leader to Meeting Leader, and that's a story in the Narcotics Anonymous book. And when I read it, it talked about lowriders. It talked about South Central LA, and it was talking about like living the gang lifestyle and making the changes, not just in addiction but in behaviors, and giving back to the homies. And I was like, I know what I got to do. I think I know what I got to do. I got to be a homie in recovery.
Yeah.
And so the next day, he's like, what'd you think of the story? He's like, I know what I got to do. And that was it, bro. I've only been to rehab once. Wow.
What was your sense of faith, bro, up until that point? Did you have a relationship with your higher power?
I thought I did. I had discussions, what I called prayers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because the prayers that I was saying, to be honest with you, even till date, I don't know what they mean. I haven't broke them down. I have other prayers that I say now. Like, to be honest with you, like 100%, like what is it called? The Lord's Prayer. I know it in Spanish. I don't know what none of those words mean.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm starting to work on learning it in English and breaking it down just so to see what the real meaning of it is.
Yeah.
But when I got into rehab, I had faith because I was raised in a Catholic, household. My mom worked at a church 18 years, exactly the same amount of my addiction. And, but I was mad, because one, my nephew passed away at the age of 5. And I was like, through open heart surgery. And I was just like, how can you take him away? He was just a kid. You know what I mean? I'm the drug addict gangbanging out here and you won't take my life, but you'll take his.
Yeah.
Like what? So that's around the same time when I started to do the IV use. And so I was mad. And I prayed a lot. I would ask God, like, please, like, help me with my drug addiction. Help me with my drug addiction. And I felt like I had no help if I prayed really hard from the bottom of my heart. And so did my mom. When I got to the rehab, they used to take us to church on Sundays. And I went, but just because I can get out and eat some cookies and drink a soda because they wouldn't give us, soda at the rehab. And so I would go just for that. But it wasn't until they showed us a movie, The Shack.
Oh man, I've been wanting to finish that. I got about a quarter way through it and never finished it, dude.
Intense. For me, it was. That's different sections of the movie that got to me. But there's this one where they make the dad be the judge. And he's like, okay, here's your 2 kids. Yeah, you got to pick one. One's going to live, one's going to die. Pick one. And he's like, no, I can't do that. And he's like, no, you got to pick one. No, I can't do that. And he's like, take me, take me, take me, take me. And basically the moral of that scene was like, well, now you will understand what God goes through.
Yeah.
And I was like, snap. And then right after that, he sees his daughter like through a waterfall. And they say where she's at, there's no sense of time. So they don't even know, they can't sense time. They have no negative emotions. So they're just waiting for you peacefully because they don't have a sense of time. And then that's where I found some peace. I was like, okay. Later on, it talks about like forgiveness and everything. But it was after I watched that movie that I was like, okay.
I got to finish it, man.
That church that they used to take us to, that's the same place that the NA meeting was at. And they had a library there as well. And they used to let us take 2 books at a time. And they said, you can take the books. If you like them, keep them. And later on, when you're doing better, come back and donate us some books. And I have a problem with like choosing. And I was like, which one? And the lady was like, come on, we got to go. So I grabbed a blue book, and I don't remember the other one, but that blue book was called What We Talk About When We Talk About God. And amazing book. It talks about, it's Rob Bell. And it talks about how science and religion are connected.
Yeah.
And once I read it, because I was too smart for my good, that's where the science would conflict with my spirituality. Absolutely. And I was able to connect it. That was it, bro. That was it.
Man, it's amazing how you said, I don't know if there's any significance to this, but you said that you just saw the blue book and grabbed it. Did you read, or was it just blue? You just grabbed it?
Blue.
See, and that's what, I don't know why I felt the need to ask you about the Dodgers blue, because maybe, they say where two or more gather, he's there, right? So to me, maybe in my heart, subconsciously or something, I'm thinking maybe that's the way God knew how to communicate with you. Blue, perfect color, bro. Just take this one.
Yep.
I'll speak to you through there.
Yep. And till date, like if I see like a spiritual book that's in blue, take it.
Dang.
Take it. So most of my books are blue.
That's funny. I would fucking Nate Dogg, one of my homies that works here. Every time I see him, he was a Crips. Every time he sees me, he's like, "Hey, you know why the sky's blue, right? Because God loves Crips." He always says that shit. It just makes me think about that. That's funny. Shout out to Nate Dogg. What up, dog? But man, that's so interesting, dude. So since that moment, your life was completely different. There was a shift in your perception.
And everything. Everything. The crew made it really easy for me to transition into recovery. When I got out, I had a really close homie of mine, my best friend, Alejandro Ayala. The streets called him Choco, but the family called him Boy. That's what I was bill collecting for, that my job was to protect him. I've stood in front of a gun for him multiple times, like it was my boy. And when I got out on a Tuesday. I saw him Wednesday at an IOP group. And I told him, I was like, hey, homie, like, I can't kick it with you like that anymore. I was like, I love you to death, bro. I was like, I kiss your head when I leave, bro. Like you're my brother, but I can't be around you like that anymore. And he said, no, that's fine. He goes, just don't stop calling me and checking up on me. He's like, and I was like, nah, bro. Like, but I just can't hang out with you because it's too tempting. And he said, he was proud of me. He's like, you're going to make it, bro. You're going to make it. He was facing, actually that day, he was on the F-250. And I was like, I can see you're still living the life. And he's like, why do you say that? That's not your truck, bro. You stole that. Like, you know what I mean? And you're driving around. Like, and I told you not to do that. Like, I'm sorry that I'm not around to stop you from doing dumb things like this, but I told you don't drive around in town in a stolen truck. Like,
yeah.
And he ended up like getting chased right there. I was like, I saw the cops coming, and I was like, I'm going to go back inside, bro, because there comes a cop. And he's like, oh, let me just park and get off too. And now they put the lights, and he ran right there.
Man.
And he ran, and he got away from them. He hit the truck. Later on, they caught him because they found the truck later on, but not on it. They found the receipt. They went to the store, pull up the date and time that's on the receipt, and they saw the video of him, and that's how he got pinned. And so he was facing those charges. And because he had priors and he was on probation as well, he was facing 6. And he, one day it was a Thursday, the health home called me, and they're like, hey, your friend's outside and he's having a rough time. He's crying, he's hysterical, and he doesn't want to talk to anybody but you. He actually came here looking for you, but I was already done with IOP, so I wasn't going anymore. So I went over there, and he was like, Looney, he's like, I don't know if I can face these charges. His sentencing date was coming up, and he's like, no matter what I do, I don't want to be there. If I go to court, I go to jail, and I don't want to be there. If I go on the run, I got to go to Mexico, and I don't want to be there. Because mind you, his girl who was in the truck got sentenced, and she was in prison, and she had a baby of his in prison. So he goes, I just want to be there with my kid and for my girl when she gets out. And he's like, and I can't take my kid and my girl to Mexico again. So he said, just do me a favor. Whatever I choose to do, just make sure that my kid and my girl's right.
Oh my God.
That's all I ask for you, right? And he said, you're going to make it, bro. You're doing it. Like, you're doing it. You're going to make it. You're going to make it. Stay here. I need you. Yeah, that was February. And that was a Thursday. And Monday morning, I got the call that he overdosed and died that Sunday.
Man.
So Martin's been a big part of my recovery, bro. He was my peer support because I used to go to his groups when I got out of rehab. And right then and there, I remember I showed up to the center, and I sat down with him, and I sat down with the site director now, Rosa, and I had a gun in the back. They couldn't see it, But I told him, it's like, I'm gonna go get these fools. Because they found him with no money. They took his guns away because he had a large amount of money because he was gonna run to Mexico. And the streets talk, and he died inside of a trailer, but they dragged him and put him in a car.
When you say you're going to get these fools, you're talking about the people that gave him the product?
And that's so they killed them or the word is that they killed him to steal the money that he had in the guns that he had. Because he had a large amount of cash. It was like over 10,000 or something like that he had in his pocket.
This is Choco you're talking about?
Uh-huh.
I mean, when I hear it from when you said, what I'm going to do or whatever, it almost seemed like did he ever show you any like suicidal or any type of like ideations or nothing like that? Because I mean, for him to be like, just make sure that they're cool, make sure that they're cool.
No, it's because he was going to run, and he knew that he wasn't going to be able to come back, and he wasn't going to take his girl and his kid to Mexico.
Okay.
So that's why he was like, just make sure that they're good.
I guess I'm just trying to have an understanding. So you were going to go get the people that went to I guess they were going to rob him, you said.
Yeah.
And they're the ones who gave him the product too.
Yeah. And then dragged them to the car and placed them in the car instead of inside. And they didn't call the ambulance till the morning when he passed away at night.
Oh, man.
So Narcan could have saved his life. But again, see, that was me, early recovery. I was blaming, you know what I mean? Like, and Martin sat there and was just like, he's like, Luis, you can't do this, man. Like, you're in recovery. You're not just in recovery. Like, you've been working your recoveries. Like, you got a sponsor, bro. You giving back. Like, you got your own little family now. Like, he's like, you can't just go out and do this anymore. And in Spanish, he would tell you, saborea el dolor. Like, savor this pain so you can learn from it. And
man, that's deep, dude.
And I used to get mad, right? Because I didn't want to feel that pain, bro. Like, I got all kinds of homies who were dying in Tucson from overdoses. And so I sat there, I cried, I was mad, and he was just, I'm not going to let you leave the center, bro. I'm sorry. Like, I'm going to keep you close. I'll talk to you. Just stay here until I leave. If when you leave, like, you still feel like that, like, let's go eat. Let's go to a meeting. Like, let me take you to a meeting. Like, you have a list of coping skills. Like, you've been dealing with everything. Like, you got this, and just do what you got to do. He talked me through, he talked me past it. You know what I mean? Him and Rosa, like I said, talked me past it.
Wow.
And so that's why I have a huge appreciation for Martin. He's taught me a lot of things. I followed all his suggestions. They worked. I followed all the suggestions from people in rehab. They worked. The beard is a suggestion from somebody from rehab. Like, don't cut it. You know what I mean? That's your recovery beard.
Heck yeah.
And
it's more epic every time I see you, bro.
A little bit longer. but
kind of remind me of Surge from System of a Down with the swag.
That's what they called me in rehab, Surge.
Really? Hell yeah, that's my favorite band, bro.
I love it.
That's cool. And man, and how have the relationships in your life changed since everything with your mom, your sisters, your dad, everything? So
in April, because I got released or discharged from rehab in March 12th. And it was April, it was Easter. And I passed by my because I was still in house arrest, so I had to go back to my mom's house.
Yeah.
But I had my son and my girl there now. And my mom was sitting in my son's bed, and she was all slouched over. She looked all sad, bro. And I looked, and I was right away like, Mom, what's wrong? What's wrong? Like, why are you sad? What's going on? What's going on? And my mom said, nothing. I'm happy. I was like, tell that to your body language. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? You're like, you look sad. And mom was like, no, I was just thinking. And I said, well, what are you thinking about, Mom? That's some pretty deep thoughts. And my mom looks at me. And then she like looks around in the room and sees like the little paintings and stuff like that my son's made. And she's like, I worked at a church for 18 years. She goes, I was part of like this Guadalupanas, which is like the ladies that like do the Rosario and like super involved, bro, in the church. And my mom goes, I never said anything, but I had lost faith in God. I didn't think he existed because I prayed for him to help you. She goes, at one time I prayed for, and I had heard that before. This was the second time I heard it. She goes, I prayed for him to take you away or me away because we couldn't live in the same world. I couldn't watch you suffer. So I wanted you to die or I wanted to die. She goes, and I had lost complete faith because I prayed hard for hours every day for him to save your life, and it wouldn't happen. And she goes, and seeing you right now and you're happy with your recovery and you go to meetings and groups because you want to, she's like, you're my living proof that he resurrected.
Oh, man. God, that's so powerful, dude.
The relationship with my mom got really good. Unfortunately, my mom was very sick, diabetes, arthritis, fibromyalgia. Then she started having heart problems, and then a pacemaker came in, and like, so she started going downhill when I started coming uphill. And the relationship with my dad got a lot better. We stopped fighting, you know, and with my sisters, like, everything is better. But there's things that come after recovery, which for me I still struggle to express emotions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Anger is really easy to express. But when it comes to like sadness or happiness, the most, so I got distant from my family because I get social anxiety because I don't want to, you know, like I'm overprotective of myself and my life.
Yeah.
And, but they're grateful that I'm in recovery. I'm open and I tell them like, I'm sorry, I'm still struggling. I still work on my recovery. I have a lot more anxiety now than I did when I was using. But I'll try at little chunks of time I'll spend with you guys. But like when people get too loud or whatever, like I start freaking out and I start like panicking and I take off. And Christmas and New Year's, Thanksgiving, like, but they're a lot better. They're grateful. You know what I mean? I'm emotionally available to them if they need it. Though, so I just kind of shared, I work the 12 steps, bro. You know what I mean? Like that's my recovery. And there's a step that reservations come up. Do you have any reservations to go back out and use? And I've been open about it. And I said, when my mom dies, like, that's it. I'm going back to Tucson. I'm going to get high. Anybody who owes me money, I'm going to collect. Anybody who's harmed the homie, they're going to pay back. I'm going to go back to gang banging. And I'm going to go all out. And I have a list of people who I want to hit. And so Martin even one time told me, he's like, I can't believe you still think like that, bro. I was like, I'm just being honest. It's my reservation. He's like, well, no, that's right. That's true. Thank you. And my mom passed away. Coming up on 2 years. And my mom passed away. And
so sorry, man.
Yeah, they went. My mom went to Rocky Point, died of natural causes, and I was sleeping. I talked to her the day before. It was a Friday, and yeah, I see like the regret stuff because I was kind of short. I was trying to get off the phone because I was playing the PlayStation.
Yeah.
But I made sure, you know, you doing good, Mom? Are you happy? She said, oh, it's beautiful, blah, blah. And the last conversation I had with her, I told her, it's like, Mom, enjoy yourself. Rest. Enjoy the beach. You love the beach. And my mom's like, it's because I'm always worried about you. She's like, you're crazy. Like, you go fast, like you go fast, like in the blink of an eye. And I was like, Mom, I'm good. I got my son right here. I got my girl. I got support. I'm working in the field. I'm helping others. Like, I'm good, Mom. And I don't know, again, this is just my vision. I was able to give her that peace and relax and let go. And that's, she kind of went naturally. But I had a plan. I said I was going to go tell my aunt so she can tell the rest of the family. And as soon as I told her, I was going to come up to Tucson. And so my sister told me, and I thought it was weird because everybody was around the room. Nobody was close to me. Like everybody was like towards a wall or something, right? And they said that they did that because I snap. And I get physically aggressive. And they didn't know how I was going to react. But when she told me, all I heard was a gunshot. Because I've been shot before. And I just heard the gunshot. Boom, like old traumas. For some reason, my brain just...
When you found out about your mom?
I heard the pop, boom, and then I heard the ringing. And then I blacked out. Then I came back, and that's when I was like, I have a plan. Go tell your aunt. And I told everybody, I'll be back. I got to go tell my aunt. I got in the car. I went to my aunt's house. She lives in the same neighborhood. I sat, and I told her. I heard the gunshot again. Boss, and then the ringing. And then I came back, and I was like, I got to go. And so I was like, tell the rest of my aunts. So then I got in the car and I was right there in front of her house. I grabbed my cell phone. I started going through Facebook. I was like, nah, because nobody in Nogales was going to sell me anything because they knew what I was doing for a living, working, with Hope. And I started scrolling. And I was like, well, scroll your homies from Tucson. And I started scrolling through Tucson. And I was like, that guy. And I was like, this homie, I know he's still selling. I know he's still using. And he owes me money. And I was like, he'll give it to me. I know he'll give it to me. We're not in bad terms. I know he will. And I was like, all right. So I clicked the message to make the phone call. And then I sat and I just started thinking, bro, like, my mom, the time that she had the heart attack. There was this one time I remember I was withdrawing, bro, and I went to my mom's room and I was like, Mom, I need the rubbing alcohol. She said, why? I was like, because I'm sick and I need to get some stuff out of the straw. And I tried it, I ruined it, so I couldn't, get high. And I remember like shaking and I was going through withdrawals, and she sat there, she grabbed the rubbing alcohol, she was rubbing my back. And she would do things like that, you know what I mean? And I started thinking of everything she did for me. started thinking about my kids, bro. And then that's when I realized, like, I'm not going to do this. I'm about to go through all these emotions 100% at full force without using. And that's where I broke down. That's where I understood what my will and what God's will was. It was right then and there. And so I've been able to face the hardest thing that I had in my head and recover, and I did it clean.
Bro, that is a super powerful and beautiful testimony, man. I'm very sorry, you know, to hear about your mother and all the loss and stuff that you've experienced. If it offers any bit of hope, you know, just like you said, that I had my Tío Tony, who I'm named after, he ended up getting shot on Halloween night, 1986. I was born in 88. And my mom had a dream about him. And my mom said that the dream was so vivid. I don't know if you've ever experienced those types of dreams, but like they're so vivid. It's almost like you're with the person there, right? And I don't know, man. For me, I've experienced it multiple times in my life, you know, after she told me that, where I felt like I was actually with that person there. And my mom said that in the dream that he talked about what heaven was like. And he said that, you know, in heaven, it's so beautiful up here that even though you know who your mother and your father are and your siblings, it doesn't matter. There's so much love here that you love everybody the same. And he also talked about, to my mom, this is way before the Shack ever came out, bro. He also told my mom that there was no sense of time here. You know, I go and I think about all of the hardships and stuff that we experience, and I totally believe now more than ever, like, you know, the reason why horrible things happen in this earth and why people die and, you know, there's wars and all this ugly stuff. For one, it's been in the Bible since, you know, before Jesus was ever even thought of. Nations were destroying other nations, and Sodom and Gomorrah and all these horrible things were happening. But this life is only temporary. Mm-hmm. And what matters more than anything else is what we do with our life and with our purpose, man. And I know that, you know, wherever your mother is, man, that she's proud of who you are, dude, and what you're doing, you know, because, I mean, bro, what a beautiful life to live, man. The fact that you experienced all of these things, right? And now you're using those things that used to knock you down, those things that put you and your family into horrible situations. You're using that every single day now to help people and to change people's lives. That's the beautiful thing about it, man. That's the most beautiful thing. And, you know, and I'm proud of the fact that you're so strong and doing what you're doing, man. It's an honor to have you in here talking about your testimony, dog, for real.
Thank you for having me. You know, they say that we express our gratitude towards our higher power, God, when we share our experience, strength, and hope. You know, and so that's why when anybody asks, I'm super open. Anytime, hey, you want to come? Yeah, for sure. You know, it just hopes that somebody catches, you know, because like we say, we recover out loud for those struggling in silence. At least they know who to reach out to when they're ready.
Yeah.
You know, other than that, it's just, honestly, it's just maintenance, bro. You know what I mean? Like, can't give something I don't, you know, practice myself. So I keep working on myself. I have reminders. Most of the tattoos are reminders. That's why I got the strange music for Ninja. On my back, I have an AR. It says, rest in peace, Alejandro Ayala. Amor Eterno for my mom. I love that song. On this side, Wicked Life. If I ever try to shoot up, I remember there was a wicked life. On this side, I have the Serenity Prayer. If I go for this arm, I remember what I'm giving up. So my youngest son, his name's King Angelo Gaxiola. Mm-hmm. Alejandro, my favorite memory with him, we used to sit outside of his house, and his favorite rapper was King Little G. Okay. And then he introduced me to like King Lil G and all that, right? And then, so I kind of gravitated more towards Young Drummer Boy, which was a close friend of King Lil G's. And at the time they were beefing. So it was like, wow, Young Drummer Boy's better, bro. And, you know, we go back and forth, and we just had some deep conversations as well. And so when my son was born, so my nephew who passed away, his name is Angel, right? And then there's Ninja's son, Angelo. And then my mom's name's Maria de Los Angeles, and they call them Angelina or Angela. So I was like, I try to do everything with purpose, right? And as a reminder of like, don't give up. And I was like, well, what can we call, you know, my youngest son? My oldest is Jericho, which is a biblical name. Yeah. And I was like, well, I want to give it a biblical name too, but I don't want it to be like Abraham or Jesus. You know what I mean? There's a bunch of Jesuses.
Yeah, that's my middle name.
There's a bunch. Yeah. So I was like, so what can I do? Something unique. And I'm really big with Stoic. So like I love Spartan and like their beliefs and everything, right? Yeah. And my girl, she said a joke, and she was like, "We should call him like Leonidas." And I was like, and she said King Leonidas, and I was like, King Leonidas.
That's dope.
I was like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And she goes, "No, I was just joking." And I was like, "No, I'm not." And then she's like, "We can't name him after King Leonidas." I was like, "No, forget the Leonidas, King." Because at the top of the cross, it says Inri, the King of the Jews, King. And I was like, that's a biblical name. And I was like, okay, King. And I was like, Angelo for Ninja's boy, for my nephew, for my mom, Angelo. And then he's an angel, for my recovery. And I was like, perfect middle name, Angelo. And then Gaxiola, spelled out with the G. Then it's King little G for boy. And I was like,
cool.
That's it. It's King Angelo Gaxiola.
That's cool, man. Wow. That's really, really cool, dude, that you guys came up with that. I like that. Shout out to King, man, wherever you're at. Your dad is a powerhouse, man, changing lives every single day. Bro, this has been awesome. Definitely one of my favorite episodes that we've ever done. Before we let you go, what is there any advice or anything you could give anybody that may be in the same predicament that you were at, man, when you were at your lowest, maybe listening and is afraid to ever, maybe they don't know anything about recovery. Maybe they don't know anything that is possible. You know what I'm saying? Is there any advice you can give them?
I mean, as stereotypical as it is from somebody who works in the field, but recovery is possible. 18 years of addiction, 10 years of IV use, even longer when it comes to gang life. And I've maintained through the support of people we are offering you exactly the same thing that was offered to me. If I'm not your cup of tea, I know a bunch of different homies. I know bikers. I know, suit and tie wearing guys wearing recovery. Like, there's multiple forms of recovery. Just ask. Just questions. Start asking questions. That's it. You don't got to start right now. Just ask questions. Start educating yourself. You're definitely not alone. Come to the right people. You're not going to get judged. You know what I mean? I think, again, like, treatment is an amazing place. I wish I would have known about Arizona Rehab Campus. I would have came, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But treatment centers are amazing. You only have to go through it once. The withdrawal. Just once. After that, as long as you don't go back to using, never again.
Man, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, man, give it up to my brother Luis real quick for coming through and sharing his testimony.
Thank you.
Like always, guys, I just want to thank you all for tuning in to the episode. And, if there's, Luis, if you got a business card or something, brother, any way that I can have, if there's anybody who wants to reach out or something, that they can get in contact with you. I got the card. He's giving it to me right now. Thank you so much for coming and sharing. For everyone who's out there, please, if you know somebody in recovery that this could help, or somebody who wants to know more about recovery, or maybe you're interested in working in the field, maybe you're interested in coming and sharing your testimony with us, please, man, hit us up anytime. The email, everything attached on the show comes directly to me. I'm gonna put Luis's information on there. But thank you guys for the continued support. We wish you guys nothing but the best. Much love. God bless, and we will definitely see you on the next one. Peace. What's going on, everybody? This is Buddha from the ARCast, and I just wanted to thank you for checking out this week's episode. It means a lot, and if you could share it with a friend or a loved one, somebody you need in recovery, or maybe somebody who just needs that little bit of extra positivity in their life, we'd greatly appreciate it. If you would like to join us here on the ARCast, either in the studio live or online, hit us up. The links are down in the show notes of this episode, and on there, you can find direct links to our main website here at Americas Rehab Campus and all of our social media platforms. Follow us. We keep the posts positive and motivational, focused on recovery, health, and wellness. As you know, in this modern day and age, we need as much love as possible, y'all. And as always, if you or somebody you know is in need of substance abuse treatment, please don't hesitate to give us a call. We're open 24 hours a day, and our direct phone number is 1-833-272-7342. Once again, that phone number is 1-833-272-7342. I hope you all have a beautiful rest of your day. Much love and God bless. Peace.